Let's get into one damn complex, unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
Here we are, friends. Capitalism and advanced AI cannot coexist. El capitalismo y la inteligencia artificial avanzada no pueden coexistir. Do you have any thoughts on this, Dan? Any opinions?
Well, I've never thought about the relation between them, but
Okay.
I think that they can coexist. Yes.
Okay, so the relationship between them, right? A lot of people draw a straight line between what happened with the advent of the internet and what's happening now with the advent of artificial intelligence, right? Like the internet, what it did was, it did obviously cost a few jobs, but what it did was create a whole new economy, which was basically territory to be exploited, for the want of a better word. You know, our economy almost relies on never depleting resources, and what the internet gave us was a new resource to mine, right? It gave us new territory to conquer, for the want of a better word. So in almost every aspect, it worked to the benefit of a capitalist model. However, advanced AI, I would argue, is something very different. But we'll get into that as we go through the pros and cons. Interesting. How do you think people voted on Instagram? Do you think they agreed or disagreed?
With that, if they can't coexist,
Yeah.
that they disagree.
You think they disagreed? They did. Well done, Dan. 76% of the people polled said false, that they can coexist. Let's see. Let's dig into this. Vero says, okay, false. In fact, advanced AI is made by and for capitalists, since they are the ones who have the money to develop it. This is true. But some would say, we're getting into some deep philosophical territory here. Do you know anything about Greek mythology, Dan? The cyclical nature of Greek mythology?
Well, not too much, but the things that they taught us in school.
Yeah. Do you know the character Prometheus, right? The man who stole fire from the gods and gave it to humans.
Yes.
All right. So I will draw the parallel here between AI and those who are developing AI. And they are in some ways modern day Prometheus. Whereas we, the Greek gods, are saying, no, we need guardrails. Don't make these two things too smart. The tech industry are going out of their way to make these things more and more, or this new form of being, let's say. And people get annoyed when I mention the idea that AI is a form of life. So let's say these new intellectual beings. The tech industry are going out their way to make them more and more capable, right? Modern day Prometheus. Anyway, let's continue. Let's go into the pros and cons in this argument, shall we? So the pro argument agreeing that capitalism and advanced AI cannot coexist. Hopefully we change a few minds here, listeners, and I would always welcome your opinions. You can write to me on Instagram at @professionalbohemian. All right, let's get into it. Pro, capitalism and advanced AI cannot coexist. AI will outpace human labor. Advanced artificial intelligence has the potential to automate many jobs across industries, from manual labor. Here we're talking about how the Venn diagram between robotics and artificial intelligence are starting to collide. From manual labor to white-collar professions such as accounting, law, even creative fields. You know, look at marketing now. Our marketing departments all across the business world are reducing thanks to generative AI. This threatens the capitalist structure, which is heavily reliant on human labor as a driver of economic activity. Let me repeat that so you understand. This threatens the capitalist structure, which relies heavily on human labor as a driver of economic activity and the participation of human workers in the economy. If there aren't enough workers, then there's no one pumping money back into the economy. If humans are displaced from the workforce at a massive scale, consumer spending will plummet, destabilizing capitalist economies that rely on the cycle of earning and spending. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Are we all on the same page? The fewer people there are working and contributing to society, the less consumer spending there is, the worse our economies become. Okay, let's continue. Wealth concentration will worsen. The development and control of advanced artificial intelligence is likely to be concentrated in the hands of a few corporations and individuals. Surely we are all seeing that happen right now, are we not? This will exacerbate income inequality, as these companies will reap enormous profits while displacing workers. The gap between the wealthy elite and who control AI and the masses who are left jobless could destabilize capitalist societies. Name me, anyone out there, I would ask you, name me one measure, one piece of legislature in Europe, America, anywhere in the world, name one piece of legislature that you're aware of that protects human jobs against displacement from AI. Anyone? Anyone? Yeah. And it's already happening, right? Let's continue. Erosion of consumer demand. In capitalism, consumer demand drives production. If AI automates most jobs, many people will lose their income and purchasing power, effectively collapsing the economic model that capitalism depends on. With a dwindling middle class and growing unemployment, there won't be enough demand to sustain market-driven economy. The engine of the economy just simply breaks down, right? Next and final point, I think we'll move on from into the cons after this. Advanced AI systems are likely to lead to monopolistic dominance. AI-driven corporations will leverage efficiencies and cost-cutting advances that smaller businesses cannot compete with, leading to a collapse of traditional competitive markets. This monopolization erodes the very principles of capitalism. Okay, here we're not making an argument for or against capitalism. I want to make that clear. We live in a capitalist society. Capitalism has brought us immense wealth, prosperity, health, all right, over the last 100 years. I'm not here to decry capitalism at all. In fact, I mean, I'm aware of the benefits of a capitalist system, but we are here to argue whether it plays hand in hand with AI or not. So there's the least voted points there in the pro column, which I would say are very cogent and understandable arguments. Let's get into the cons, where most people, 76% of people, agreed capitalism and advanced AI can coexist. So let's get into this, shall we? Increased efficiency and productivity. Advanced AI can significantly enhance productivity by automating repetitive tasks and optimizing processes, allowing businesses to scale operations while reducing costs. This aligns perfectly with capitalism's focus on efficiency and profit maximization, ensuring its coexistence with artificial intelligence. I would argue here that capitalism is not an island. It requires people participating in an economy, right? And throughout history, from the Industrial Revolution to now, the main driver of unemployment has always been technology. Let me repeat that. The main driver of unemployment has always been technology. Think back to the 20s, where you see these lines of people assembling cars, which are now replaced by maybe 4 or 5 people managing robots that do all the work. Think to your local supermarket, where there are fewer and fewer cashiers and more automatic checkouts. Okay, if you want an easier to picture example, right? Technology is the number one driver, of unemployment. Let's get into the next point here. Job creation through innovation. While AI may eliminate some jobs, it will also create new ones in fields like AI development, maintenance, and oversight. Historically, technological advancements like the Industrial Revolution have disrupted the job market, but also generated new industries and opportunities, sustaining capitalism. I mean, look, most wealthy economies are service economies, right? They're not manufacturing economies anymore. Why is that? Because it's just much cheaper to use developing countries to manufacture. right? So, do you honestly think if there's money to be saved, your job is going to be preserved? If a reliable AI model it comes out, what do you think about this, Dan?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not poo-pooing companies here. A company's number one driving force is to make money, to make money for its shareholders or stakeholders, right? It's its number one driving force. You can't blame a shark for being a predator because that's what it's designed to do, right? Enhanced consumer experience. AI can tailor products and services to individual preferences, improving customer satisfaction and driving consumption. This personalization leads to increased consumer spending, which fuels the capitalist economy. Advanced AI could enhance consumer experience in ways that support market growth. Look, I do not deny the fact that AI will lead to advanced consumer experience, but my argument here is how are we going to consume when we don't have the money to invest in products? Does that make sense? All right, well, do we have time for one more point? Yeah, we do. Okay, last point here in the cons. Adaptability of capitalism. Capitalism has proven its ability to adapt to technological shifts, from industrialization to the digital revolution. Governments and corporations can develop policies, such as universal basic income or reskilling programs, to address AI's challenges while maintaining the capitalist structure. It's true, capitalism has proven to be very adaptable, but I don't see any changes being put into place. Don't see any legislation being written. I don't see any company saying, let's stop outsourcing for the benefit of the community when it comes to, when it may affect profits. I just don't see it happening. The internet and AI, the AI revolution are very, very different things. Rather than opening up new territories for economic exploitation, AI is simply put is simply a replacement for workers. The internet was not. Fascinating debate, guys. I've got so much more to say on this subject. And it seems by looking at the chat that you guys do too. I will post a poll during the break and you guys will tell me. I'm interested in your opinions here. Capitalism and advanced AI cannot coexist. True or false? Today's unpopular opinion, which has been and will continue to be a fascinating debate. Look, we're not here to criticize capitalism. That's not the remit of today's show. We are here to talk about the effects of AI upon the capitalist model. We've looked at some pros and cons. I have admittedly been quite heavily on one side of the argument. I will try and correct that in this second part. But the results of the poll are quite revealing as we talk about this further. You still have time to vote, by the way, if you want to join us, twitch.tv/professional bohemian. You can vote right there and have your thoughts heard. Let's turn our attention to the chat. Earn Warrior, we left off with Vero. Earn Warrior says, what we call now AI is the equivalent of what happened in the 18th century with the invention of the vapor machine. The vapor machine.
La máquina de vapor.
Yeah. Steam engine, right?
Yes.
The steam engine. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess in many ways. Vero says, have we thought that AI can't develop faster than human minds? At the end of the day, people who develop AI are humans. Interesting point. I would come back at that with, we're at a point now where AI is replicating itself. AI is creating the next generation of AI. And AI is already smarter than you and I, Vero. I mean, whereas I will kick AI's ass when it comes to knowledge of TV and radio production, it will kick my ass. It will be competent in that and kick my ass in a whole slew of other fields, from philosophy to psychology to almost everything, right? And now we're working with a relatively rudimentary artificial intelligence. A big leap has happened recently with these recent models that are capable of thinking before they answer, for the want of a better word. Right, but we're right at the beginning of this of this technology, and it's moving faster than anyone ever predicted. So yeah, is it capable of surpassing humans? Yeah, it absolutely is. I would argue in many ways it already has. The Bridge says, I have never thought about this and I do see your point. As I always say, think first. It's all good, but caution first. Rob, we will be needing humans to do the thinking. Will you be volunteering? Oof, I wouldn't trust me in my brain. But will we though? Because isn't AI basically designed to do exactly that? I mean, here we're not talking about new territory like the internet actually gave us. We're talking about something that is designed to replace human endeavor, human work. These are machines that think, right? Especially models like R1, the DeepSeek model R1, and OpenAI's O1 and O3 models, which are O3 is now available at the Pro plan. The Bridge says, thinking before doing, so they have a third eye? No, but what they do is they kind of, they don't give an immediate answer like more primitive AI models. Like the initial, AI works like this, right? You ask it a question and it goes word by word, giving the most relevant, it generates text on a word by word basis based on the likelihood of the next word it will give you, giving a fulfilling answer to the prompt you have given it. I mean, it is kind of in that way no more complex than an algorithm that gives you a movie you might enjoy or a song that you might like to listen to, right? But working much faster. This is why it takes so much processing power. It basically just kind of gives you the most likely next word always to fulfill your request, which makes it bad at writing humor and certain creative things. Anyway, let's replace pilots in Formula One for AI robots then. We call them drivers in Formula One, but yeah, why not? I mean, look what has happened in self-publishing now on Amazon. Like almost 90% of all new books that are released on Amazon now are generated by artificial intelligence. What's the danger of that? Well, eventually artificial intelligence is going to be learning from its own material, you know? Anyway, let's see, what else do we have? We got a lot of messages on Instagram with regards to this. Theo says, I see that if AI gets too good advanced, it's going to replace so many jobs, and capitalism depends on people earning and spending money. How's the system supposed to work if no one has a paycheck? Elena says, I don't agree. Capitalism thrives on innovation, and advanced AI could lead to entirely new industries and opportunities. Sure, jobs might go, but history shows that we adapt and create new ones. Yeah, that has always been the case. That has always been the case in the past. Let's see if that holds up to, if we hold up to the same standards now. Marcus says, I think they can't coexist long term. AI will widen the gap between the rich and the poor even more, with corporations benefiting while workers get left behind. Without major reforms, capitalism might collapse under the weight of AI. Yeah. You know, capitalism has proved to be very, very dynamic and ever-changing and adaptable. But what I'm not seeing right now is that adaptability happen. I'm seeing a laissez-faire attitude by most governments all over the world. Oh, well, let's see what happens. You know, I'm seeing kind of people more concerned with the side effects of AI rather than the real problem itself. Oh, deep fake technology, that's bad. We need to label AI images. Where did you get the text from? Where did you get the images from? And when's anyone going to pause and think, hang on a minute, we're all losing our jobs here? Leila says, it depends on how we handle it. If we regulate AI properly and use it to the benefit of everyone, they can coexist. But if it's left unchecked, yeah, it'll probably create chaos in the system. All right, have we changed your mind at all here, Dan? What's your thinking towards this now?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think they can coexist, but now that you say all those facts, so it's something to think about. I don't.
Yeah. If anything, if anything, from today's unpopular opinion, that is the objective. Not to prove conclusively one way or the other, but it's to have everyone think about it. There is a massive gap between what is actually happening in the world of technology and how technology and politics are slowly starting to overlap, and our understanding of the dangers of that happening, the burgeoning technocracy that's underway in the world right now. Anyway, let's see how people voted, shall we? I'll remind you that people on Instagram, they said false, quite conclusively. 76% said false. No, capitalism and AI can coexist. You guys in the audience, let's see. I made the statement, capitalism and advanced AI can't exist, and you guys said 67%. True. Woo. The bridge says, steps will be taken, Rob, but as always, too late. Yeah, there's a good final thought. Should we, the most advanced species on the planet, be as reactionary as we are? Should we not be a little better at planning and providing for the future? Surely not everything is a decision between profit and our health and well-being as a society. Seems like those are debates that are being had. Those are debates that are being had, and it just seems ridiculous to me, right? I don't know. I'm not here to tell you that capitalism and advanced AI can or cannot coexist. I have my own ideas on that, but you know what Grandpa Bo would say about those, right? But if I achieve one thing today, or we achieve one thing today, is that we reorient our thinking with regards to this issue, that we actually start to understand the trajectory that we're on. Because without a real understanding and without real forward thinking and planning, then, you know, the worst case scenario is always possible. But you know what Grandpa Bo would say about that, right? He'd say, Rob, that's just your opinion. And opinions, they're like buttholes. Everyone has one. They all stink, including yours. Let's move on to today's 100 Humans.